Hello everybody, welcome to Video Games Awesome Live. Becky and I just went and saw Mad Max Fury Road, and it is overrated. That's one of the, subpar at best. What were you guys thinking, sending me to that? To go and see that? Like, it's like one of the worst action films. Horrible film. I'm fucking kidding! It's one of the best fucking movies I've seen in my goddamn life! Holy shit! Oh my god,
I thought Fraser was gonna fly out of his chair.
I was giddy the entire fucking time. It was incredible. Look, okay, so Becky was surprised. I didn't know about the guitar guy.
Okay, so there will be spoilers.
Okay, so just
I
from
knew that before.
Just from downloading these trailers to start this show, I realized that I should have known about the guitar guy. He's shown in the trailers.
Oh, he's in the trailers. Okay, good.
Okay,
I'm so glad you didn't know about it.
If you weren't here for our Turtles review, we're gonna start with little trailers and slowly move into, no spoilers, and then move slowly towards bigger and bigger spoilers. So if you feel like it's getting too hot for you, then tune out. But it's not a movie that can be really spoiled. There's not a...
Not really.
Not a lot that,
There's some dirt on his face.
Oh, okay.
What was he eating?
So anyways, the guitar guy, as soon as he started playing, I just went like,
Oh my god.
So fucking amazing. We don't know anything about Mad Max. Like,
no,
we never watched.
There he is.
Yeah, like, but you don't hear him in the trailers.
No.
You don't know what he sounds like.
It's incredible.
It's fucking incredible.
Oh my god.
And here's one of the coolest things. Like, I don't know much about the Mad Max movies, but I'm wondering, were all the Mad Max films, and I think there was 3 of them, and most people only like the second, 2 and 3 or something.
Okay.
Or, I don't know. Anyways, were all of them not really about Mad Max? Because this film wasn't about Mad Max.
Yeah, that was so cool that it wasn't really about
He's like a side character.
Yeah.
I told Becky that I think that if there's a sequel, it should be the same thing again. Mad Max should happen upon another town, and he should be kind of like a dude who helps out with a story, but he's a side character. Kind of like the Littlest Hobo shows up and goes from town to town. If you're a Canadian, you'll know what that means. And he'll be on the road again.
I laughed so fucking hard when you compared him to Little Hobo.
Maybe tomorrow I want to settle down. So anyways, he's always a strong silent type support character, which is incredible. And
awesome.
Did Mad Max start with films, or did it start with comic books, or what? Yeah, it doesn't matter.
The only thing I know is it's Dennis Miller, and the only other things he's directed is like Babe Pig in the City.
He directed Babe?
Ice Age, or like 2 other...
Wait, are you fucking kidding me?
No,
he directed Babe?
Yeah.
How did I not know that?
But he hasn't really done anything.
Which is probably
in,
why I don't know the director's name, is because
years.
Babe is one of my favorite fucking movies of all time.
I know. George Miller. Sorry. Not Dennis Miller. Happy Feet was the other one.
What? So, that's funny because I love Babe,
Miller.
but he's done so little work that I just don't know his name, because he's not like among my directors of all time, because he just...
Yeah. It started with films.
It's so weird. Like, what's he...
Yeah, and he's 70. So fucking crazy that they asked him to come back. And the last Mad Max movie apparently didn't do that well in theaters.
I heard the last one was rated PG-13.
Oh, really?
And it's the only one in the entire series rated PG-13. This one was, thank God, rated R. It was so good, but they actually, I would say it's pretty soft for an R-rated film.
Yeah, actually,
like, it's
it really
gritty,
is.
but most of the violence is just explosions. But there are some like key points of extreme violence. There's some very dark moments.
Yeah.
The movie was just non-stop to the fucking, like, pedal to the metal, literally, throughout the entire thing. Just go, go, go all the fucking way.
I didn't even understand how they were gonna make a full-length movie out of that much action.
And they fucking did. The best part was, they weren't just action scenes, though. Throughout all the action scenes, the characters are being developed. The characters' relationships and... Like,
somehow they're doing it in the middle of fucking madness.
Instead of like the growth between like Charlize Theron's character, and she's amazing in it. Her character is Furiosa.
Yeah.
And
cool name. Oh my
so
god.
she's this badass who's actually working for the bad guy, and she meets up with Mad Max, who's actually been captured by the bad guys, and they cross paths. And for a while, they're kind of against each other, but like the relationship develops with no dialogue.
Yeah.
It's all grunts and nods through these action
so
scenes.
barbaric.
And
it's really cool.
Yeah, and they slowly you can see the trust building and the sort of like starting to figure each other out.
Yeah.
And the other amazing part about the action scenes, the initial chase scene, is that you're constantly you're cheering for like 3 different people. You're cheering for Mad Max, you're cheering for Furiosa, and then you're cheering for, and I don't know his name, but he's one of the war boys.
Nux or something?
Nux? So one of the war boys ends up coming along, and you end up cheering for him too. He's like this underdog. The whole way, and you're like I don't know who, because right now he's kind of trying to go after Mad Max, but like I want this guy not to die either. I wanted him to like do well, right? So, anyways, like I'm trying to be careful here. I want to go slowly into spoilers.
Almost
I
to
want to
not say anything.
Everything that they're like. First, the setting. So the setting is one that I think, now that I've experienced it, gives me a greater appreciation for so many other things that I can tell were based off of it.
Oh,
Borderlands.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Borderlands came from Mad Max. It had to have. Like
I could see them definitely
Fallout,
drawing inspiration from that.
Yep, and Fallout obviously came from Mad Max. Like all of these, you can see, like this Tank Girl must have been inspired by Mad Max. Like I think it was post Mad Max.
Yeah, it was like 93.
And it was during the era in which it was doing, like Mad Max was doing well. Like late 80s, I think, Tank Girl started up. And
Mad Max was what, 78?
it was definitely the comic book
in the
creators
80s.
generation that grew up with Mad Max anyways.
Yeah, totally.
And I would say, in a way, like one of my other favorite movies of all time, Fifth Element, I think was inspired by Mad Max. I think that style of like, maybe it's not post-apocalypse, but it's definitely one of these sort of ramshackle futures that's just like anything goes and human life has less worth than it used to, kind of.
Yeah.
It's just, I can't say enough about how fucking amazing it is and how silent Mad Max is.
Yeah.
And,
that part was so good.
Basically, the first thing he says, besides his monologue at the top, he has a bit of a monologue where he just says like that he's running from both the living and the dead, and you get this sense early on that he's running from his past, kind of, or haunted by his past.
Yeah.
His first real lines are as he's strapped to the front of a vehicle, as you can see in this trailer, and he's just sitting there. And he's got this like gag on. And he's just, because they have him there, and he's a shield.
Yeah.
And he just keeps on going. Like he's fucking raving and ranting and stuff. And I think it has something to do, and now we're starting to get into, not really spoilers, but just we're starting to get in more detail now. I think he was being crazy because it seemed being hooked up to Nux via the bloodline was making him a bit nuts. Like there was something about their blood intermingling, and I don't know the complete reason for why a blood bag is needed.
Yeah, I didn't quite get that either.
So that with taking him prisoner, it's like they're using him because he's healthy blood or something, and so they are using him, Nux is using him as his blood bag to give him vitality for a while.
Yeah, I guess.
But then they even warn Nux early on. They tell him that one's gone wrong. He's gone feral. You're gonna go crazy. So like, I think that they're constantly on the hunt for healthy people because most people are like got boils and stuff from like what I assume is like a nuclear apocalypse. So everybody's got they use words like half-life. He's at the end of his half-life. So everybody's afflicted with nuclear side effects. So they're kind of like, they know they have short lives, so they're all very warlike, and they know that today might be their last day, so they live every moment like that.
For this shit. Just to fucking fight.
They worship their fucking leader, and that's why they fight like this. So they all want to go to Valhalla, and it's just, they built you actually like, you feel, it's amazing how quickly you felt for the fodder.
Yeah.
Not just Nux too, but all of them kind of, for the first time ever, I felt like the peons had real motive. They were nuts, but it was like they had, like they were sort of a relatable kind of nuts. That right there, I guess,
Oh
if you
my
want to
God.
see. So like, this is Nux driving out. He's like, hey, and he just says something like, may the gods be with you, but not that. But like,
Yeah.
it's their prayer. And then he looks over at him. He looked right at me. And so at that point, he decides, from that moment, Nux decides, today's my day. And he fucking boosts on the nitro and he just boots it into the firestorm after the real plot line is that this...
Joe is the name of the bad guy, like something Joe.
Okay. And the whole thing revolves around their chase after this war machine, and what's the bad guy's name? And the Immortan Joe. So it's his war machine, and he's gotten Furiosa to drive it over to Gastown, because Gastown, I assume, is where they have all the gas. And it seems that Immortan Joe, he has all the water and the plants. And so at the beginning, he's like, I'm going to send this tank of water over there and it'll come back with gas. So they have like this symbiotic relationship with the town. So you stay on your side and we'll work together and we'll trade. And then...
And that town, I think, is that town run by his brother?
I think that
or
they
if
have
it's
some
just like
relation.
brothers.
Yeah, but yeah, like they're the heads of their towns, so... And then there's the Bullet Farm that we don't get to see. And that's what makes me want, like... You already get a sense that this is a rich world, that this could have more stories in, and I want to see them. Anyways, but then, and now we're getting into plot twists, you find out very early on, actually, that Furiosa is got an ulterior motive. And you don't actually get to find out what it is. You just know that she's gone rogue.
Yeah.
And they actually figure that out pretty quickly with their binoculars. And so that's where the whole chase begins. They're like, they go after her because the war machine is his prized position. It's just a big rig with a big tanker on the back.
Yeah.
And that the chase is just, it's so high octane. It's so fucking like epic. It is so epic. I can't
They're
say
always
enough
so
about
goddamn close.
What?
The baddies.
Oh yeah,
Like-
there's this always this sense that they are coming. They are on their way because of the music they're playing.
Oh my god, the soundtrack was incredible.
Which was done by Jax
shit.
XL, which they did stuff like a little more action, a little more satisfaction, please. That Elvis
really?
revival.
Okay.
That I think it was them, JXL or.
Oh, was it?
Anyways, it might be a different band, but anyways, it's I know I recognize the name of the people who did it. But yeah, you constantly, like, you can hear during the quiet scenes where they're trying to fix the rig, you can hear the music, the impending doom over the horizon coming. And everybody's got their, like, quirks and personality, like the three head bosses and each of their guys, like their underlings, each have their own personalities and stuff, which is amazing. Just the richness of the world. Junkie XL. How do you quantify 90% non-post FX? How do you quantify that? That's a hard number to come up with. I know that they used a lot of practical effects, which was really cool, but they also used a huge number of, they did a lot of visual effects as well.
Yeah.
But it's funny to say 90% practical. What does that mean? How do you say, I used this much gas, and then this much power on the computers that rendered, and so if you add those up to the explosions used with diesel and the computers, then 90% energy over here, like, you can't quantify that.
I'm sure somebody out there.
Unless they're talking about how much of the action had CG in it or something like that. You want to get that? Your alarm's gonna go off forever, I guess.
I don't even hear it.
Oh, I heard it. Oh, anyways.
Holy crap.
I know that for one instance, like during that huge explosion, the really big explosion towards the end with the poles swinging back and forth, that was done with just the explosion and the one truck.
Okay.
And then all the other stuff was added in CG.
Oh.
So that obviously there was not as much danger. Because as you can see, when that thing explodes, there's like debris that shoots out and just conveniently just barely misses a couple cars and stuff. And that's like stuff that you can only do with post unless you want to spend a shit ton more on the practical and put a lot of people at risk, probably. It was amazing.
I mean, 90% of the car crashes were real.
And they were awesome. I
shit.
did hear that the guitar that shot the flames that came out of it, that was real.
Really?
He could shoot flames by pressing a button out of it.
Oh my god.
Which again, probably put their insurance up so fucking high.
Yeah.
Like all these practical things, ridiculous. The 3D in it, like, was subtle,
Yeah, it
which
was.
is nice.
Yep.
I still think that 3D is a fad that kind of has to die off. I don't appreciate, like, when I go with the glasses and I go like this and I see the vibrance of the color and the brightness of the screen and then put the glasses back up, sure, I got 3D, but it's duller. It's a duller picture. It's not as high quality, and that matters to me. I would rather just a rich picture come across instead of 3D.
It was kind of cool when the guitar came towards your face at that point.
I thought that was gimmicky and silly.
Really?
But, I mean, there's moments...
If they're gonna do something,
there are some
keep
shots...
it subtle, but like that, it was like an intense moment, right?
I thought there were moments where it actually made a lot of creative sense. There was moments where Max was freaking out
Yeah.
when he's going crazy near the beginning, and it zooms in on his face, and he's kind of, his head's bobbling out, and behind him is like kind of a reverberating screen.
Yeah.
For something like that, where you're trying to simulate someone going nuts, that was very effective.
Yeah.
For the most part, when they're trying to do realistic 3D, like just give me depth of field, it really often feels wrong and weird.
Yeah.
And but this, it was very subtle, and I didn't feel taken out of it by the 3D too often.
We couldn't watch it without 3D.
You can't. It's getting to the point now where you can't get to 2D showings anymore in our town, anyways.
Yeah,
I don't know about
some
you
of them
guys.
saw it in 2D, so it is available in 2D, which...
In addition to the fact that with the 3D screens, what I do like about the 3D theaters, you can book your seat. But anyways, that's besides the. What else can I say?
The
besides
director
just, like,
recommended the 2D version.
the funny thing is that I think that the script is probably like 3 pages long.
Yeah.
There's probably that much.
If they don't put
Story
the
in
like grunting in.
Yeah, it's like it's really like not much dialogue.
Mediocre.
And yet, like we said, it still tells
Single word.
an emotional story. I feel like.
Oh yeah, yeah. You totally
It gets
feel
it,
for the
and
characters.
these girls, so like they get across this feeling of like this mission matters.
Yeah.
This mission matters a lot. Like you feel like so like.
Can we get into bigger spoilers?
Yeah, like so these girls. So here we're gonna start to move into like these girls are actually the ones that are in the tanker. There's not water in it. She's smuggling girls out that have been used as like basically breeding stock by the big
Joe.
ugly baddie.
Yeah.
So he's been like having sex with them and making
They're his
tons
5 wives.
there's 5 wives, and he's basically the guy who lives north of the wall who has all his
Yeah.
daughters that he keeps on screwing in
Yeah.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
He's been doing that,
badass.
and I guess all those kids in white are like his kids.
I don't think the kids in white are his kids. I think that they're just.
I think there's his babies. I think that's how many he's having.
I don't think so.
I
I
think
think
that-
that those are people they've collected from the apocalypse, and the ones
I-
that are deformed are his kids.
I think they're the ones that go wrong. That's why he's so preoccupied with the one being healthy. Because a lot of them are like not healthy. They're the ones that get boils and they become war dogs. I don't think all the war dogs are his kids, but I think a lot of the kids are
Yeah,
maybe
they're
his kids.
war
Pups,
pups,
not
not
just
his
his babies.
babies.
But I think a lot of them are.
Really?
I think the ones that don't end up being healthy get sent to be the war pups. But the reason I think that is all the women that you see at the very beginning, the ones that are being
Yeah.
milked, I think those are like what becomes of his wives as he's done with them. They just become like
Recycle them out.
they're the wet nurses, and then
There
he gets
were
young ones
way too
and
many
keeps
of them for
rotating
them to be his kids.
Okay, well, I don't know. All right.
Maybe some of them were, okay?
I don't know the whole. Anyways, but the point is, you get this sense that, oh my God, this guy has created a society around himself that is just reprehensible
Yeah.
and horrible, and he needs to be taken down. But that's not the goal at the beginning. The beginning is just to get these girls out of there and have a better day for them, I guess. Because, that's too high of a spoiler at this time. But anyways, so you got the damsel effect in the movie. But instead of damsels that you're just hoping that the hero saves because you'd really like to see him, like, get the girl,
Yeah.
Mad Max, first of all, has no interest in saving them. At the very
No,
beginning, has
Yeah,
no interest in
really
it.
doesn't.
He has no interest in Furiosa, it seems, as a love interest. He's totally out for himself. His psyche seems to have been broken down so far that he has just pure base survival instinct at this point. He
Yeah.
doesn't care about anything.
Yeah.
But you see that develop into something a little more hopeful towards the end.
Seems like he's definitely a lone wolf and wants to keep
Oh,
it that
very
way.
much. But though you have the damsel effect in there, they're capable.
Yeah.
They're capable. They're doing their part through the whole thing. They're more like a Elizabeth from
totally.
BioShock Infinite type of damsel. Like
Yeah.
they're ones that aren't dead weight. They're fucking pulling their weight.
Yeah, they're like always getting up and helping to fix the big rig
And the one among them, the very pregnant one, is like the idealist that's actually inspired them all to leave, I guess. In addition to Furiosa, who can, again, I don't want to go that high, spoiler yet, but so they're all kind of following her dogma about like who killed the world and we are not objects or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is what he's basically changed them into. And then Furiosa is one of the greatest fucking action heroes I've ever seen. Like,
you know what's so fucking wicked awesome? I can say this because you see it in it.
what?
Just the fact that she is an amputee.
Oh, that was cool too.
And it's never talked about, never mentioned.
Well,
She just
yeah,
like
so I saw the mechanical hand in the trailers, but
Yeah.
I just didn't put it together that would also mean that she's a full-blown amputee for some reason. I thought
Yeah.
that maybe it was just an augment, or
yeah.
maybe it was grafted right in that it never came off.
That's what I thought when I first saw
yeah,
it too.
so the fact that it comes off and then you see her as an amputee is also really cool.
Yeah. I just, oh my god.
Charlize Theron's, I've had a weak spot for her since Monster, and then of course...
Which Fraser won't watch with me. Watch it
Because
without
nobody
me.
wants to watch Monster again.
God damn.
And she's one of the greatest actresses of our generation based on Monster. And then this, not as challenging a role by far, but it still just shows how badass she can be.
Yeah. And she like fights hard and
And then she was also in Arrested Development. I fucking love the role she does.
yeah.
And then probably filming near the same time as this, A Million Ways to Die in the West, which is a goddamn waste of her time, unfortunately.
The skeleton arm on the door was really cool.
And then, so slowly, now we're moving more into spoilers. So let's just say the reason why, and like I said, you might want to, like, if you haven't seen it and you feel like we're getting too deep, you can tune out and then watch this when you're done watching it, and we really recommend you do. So she's going back to the green place.
Yeah.
And that's what she remembers because she was born in the green place, and she was kidnapped when she was young from the many mothers, which you gather as time goes on that it was like a matriarchy of
Yeah.
some kind that had found its own place, that it was like a fourth faction that used to exist. So
Okay.
at some point,
I had no idea what the Many Mothers was. I was just like,
I think they were a faction who had their own the green place, so they had their own power because they had the green. And I think that they were raided, obviously, by Joe, and they got a few of them, including her mother and her.
Yeah.
And she's always wanted to go back there ever since. And Max even at one point says, "You've tried this before." So
yeah.
I don't know if it means that she's tried to go back with the girls, or if she just tried on her own.
I think
but
she just tried on her
she must have
own.
only tried on her
Yeah,
own.
because then he said and them.
Yeah, okay,
After?
all right. And so then they actually end up meeting up with the matriarchy, who didn't do so well. They got unlucky and their claim dried up. So they were like left in the dust, literally. They had to just fend for themselves, kind of just, it looks like they're just dying off at this point, like
Yeah.
they don't know what to do. And then she inspires them because they have all the resources and fuel to head out across the salt flats or whatever, and maybe there's something beyond it.
Yeah, and they have enough fuel to go for 160 days.
But the characters, yeah, that was it was interesting to see badasses as an all-female badass group too. One of my favorite things was the old lady badasses.
Yeah, exactly.
What was
so fucking good.
The one reminded me of the sniper from TF2.
Oh, really?
She says, one of the girls, the wives, says, I thought you guys were above that, pointing to the gun.
Yeah.
And she says, shot pretty much everyone out here. All headshots, right in the mandala.
Yeah.
But she says it with an accent that sounds like she's like totally right out of TF2.
Yeah. They did their own stunts apparently.
Oh, really?
That's.
And they're doing they're out the back of the vehicle with like bullets in their teeth, like,
Yeah.
and then reloading, and it's just. That's not only like it was well played by the women, but that's good direction.
Yeah.
That director knew exactly what he wanted, and he breathed life into every frame.
Yeah.
He knew exactly what, like, this is his world. And
They're talking about this online as a feminist movie because of all the female.
I don't think this is a feminist film. I think this is a film with fucking awesome characters.
Yeah.
Why does it need to be feminist? Is just fucking awesome. I don't think that anybody needs to go out of their way to make strong female characters. Sadly, maybe nowadays it is like a rarity.
Yeah.
But I don't think that there's anything
is.
that he did particularly special.
No, I don't think so, really.
It's that he
either.
just did what he does. Like, he
Yeah.
did just a fucking amazing job of creating great characters no matter what the gender. Some are saying it's sexist and exploits women, so there's both sides. Well, it's funny because it's like, as much as you might say that it's feminist because it's all girl power or something like that,
Yeah.
it's also women as cattle.
Yeah.
So fuck off with both. It's a fucking story.
Yeah,
just
it's
shut
just a
up. It's a
kick-ass
fictional
amazing-
world with a story of terrible things happening
Yeah.
and hopeful things happening. That's
Yeah.
what's happening. So anyways, everybody who wants to see deeper into every goddamn film should shut up and just enjoy the film. Both sides, I think, are idiotic. Anyways, I had such a great time. This is up there with my top 10 films of all time.
Really?
It's right in there next to Iron Giant, Babe,
Babe.
Fifth Element, Fury Road. So I guess that makes him one of my favorite directors.
Yeah.
So what else did he do? But he did
Babe, Happy Feet.
Happy Feet.
Yeah.
I guess I'm gonna watch Happy Feet. I might be disappointed.
That imagery of the little girl is fucking scary. So they,
Oh, yeah, that she
the
keeps
opening
appearing.
sequence, I like grabbed Fraser and I was like, this is scary.
Dread's up there too. I like Gritty. Anyways, go ahead.
And just the beginning of it is scary.
Yeah, it is. It's a little bit weird.
Like I was like, oh, I don't know what I got myself into here.
The imagery at the beginning with the 3D glasses on, you think that for a moment I was like, is the 3D fucked up on this film? Like, did they not calibrate it? Because there's a strobe effect to the chase scene, but it's done on purpose. It's supposed to make the scene it almost feels like a Benny Hill comedy moment. Like the way everybody's running, they're really super sped up and it's stroby. There's no motion blur. So every frame is very like, and it's just supposed to be simulating his insanity. So I figured that out quickly, and I was worried for a moment though, because felt like it was going buggy.
Yeah.
But I want to know what his like past is, and I wonder what the other films do to explain his past. Like, is that his daughter he's having premonitions of?
Oh, it says it in there because she always says, "Dad, let's go. Daddy, come on."
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was Daddy.
Yeah.
To be honest, there was a lot of stuff where I was just zoning out. You know, like when you're really, like, I don't know, like you're fucking parched as hell and you get water and you can't drink it fast enough.
Yeah.
Or when we have
That's what
Thai
this is
Gatto
like.
and you can't shovel it in
Oh,
your face fast
fuck
enough.
yes.
That's what was happening. I was like trying to get it all in, but it was spilling past my eyes and over, and I knew that I was losing it. Like
Yeah.
some of it was going past. I need to see it again. I think I might need to see it again in theaters.
That's hilarious.
My time is sparse, but I'm so glad I saw it in theaters
Me
because
too.
the sound was so
Yeah.
intense.
The woman beside me wasn't there with anyone. And did you hear her?
No.
She was like cheering and stuff. It was so cool.
I know that when I was letting out little yelps, the guy next to me kept on looking over, smiling.
I actually saw that. There was one time when I think it must have been the guitar part, but I looked at you because you like I don't know, did something crazy,
well-
and the guy was like laughing beside him, like looking at you, but like was like so into the film at the same time.
What I did was I did a thing that I often do on Show and Trailer, and as soon as they started playing the guitar, I went. But other things to say, like I don't know what else to say besides it was just like.
Oh, him! He was
in
fucking terrifying.
terrifying.
So fucking scary.
So
So well done. Oh my god.
one of my favorite parts in the film was Charlize Theron, her Furiosa, like barely able to retain consciousness, and she's just like it seems like on death's door, but she manages to climb up to the side of his fucking vehicle, and she says it in the most like on par with like John McClane style badassery into the delivery of her line. Remember me? And then he looks over at her and sees her and he goes, "Rah!" and then spoilers, rips his face off with a fucking anchor. Amazing.
Holy shit.
God.
That imagery, like what they came up with for his face, I was just like.
Same guy as in the first film for the.
Yeah, I actually was looking at IMDb and saw that. I wonder if he was that good in the first film.
The cast of girls was very specifically chosen to look like models, like kind of like almost like nymphs or like fairies, kind of like these.
There's a blonde, brunette, redhead.
Yeah, and these like impossible to exist in this world fragile beauties.
Yeah.
Like, and there's a really funny.
And they're all wearing white.
And make no bones about it, they use the damsel effect very much in this film, but like we said earlier, they pull their weight.
Yeah.
But one of my other favorite moments is when Mad Max approaches the vehicle, not knowing what's there, and he happens upon a scene that's probably the last thing he ever expected to see.
Totally.
And it's the girls hosing each other down.
What?
And it stops just short of being too corny as a sight gag, but it's subtle enough. It's subtle but obvious that they're going for a bit of a chuckle there.
Yeah.
He just like he doesn't even react, and I think that's the best part about Max.
Yeah.
Is his reaction is no reaction kind of. It shows that, and then it shows him, and he's just like, you can see it in his eyes, and like that, like these looks of his. He did such a good job.
Yeah.
With subtlety.
We haven't even talked about Mad Max, like hardly at all yet.
That was I think what I loved about his character was that he was basically an animal.
Yeah.
From the first shot, when he stomps on the lizard and eats it and looks back at the camera and he's just like he's an animal.
Yeah, he's ravenous.
Yeah, he's lost his humanity, it seems, but there's moments of, and the word is used twice in the film, the word redemption.
Yeah.
That he's looking for redemption, and she uses it as well on her own, and then he uses it to her. So 3 times the word redemption is used. So I guess that's what it's like. People are trying to reclaim their humanity by way of redemption, to do something in their lives that may offset what they've had to do to get this far as survivors.
Yeah.
And it's like the reason that it's got 90s from reviewers plus 90 plus is because it really is more than an action film. It's a great story.
Yeah.
It's about
somehow
perseverance and about redemption, and it's about like I guess desperation, being like depravity, so much like these contrasts in it of like, and then hope. And I think they actually got away with not using the word hope. Oh no, I think that at one point the war dog does, or the war boy does.
Oh really?
Yeah, I think he might.
There's this one scene here.
Feels like hope. Yeah, he says it. Feels like hope.
Oh, okay. There's one scene here that reminds me so much of a movie, like maybe Trainspotting, where it's Nux's face. And it's just like really close up. It's driving me nuts what movie it's reminding me of. But yeah, he's friggin' Hank from X-Men.
Yeah, he's the Beast. And
So cool.
so I didn't know Tom Hardy. Going into this, I didn't know he was Bane, but I guessed it in the film. Becky
Yeah,
thought I
but
was
it's like-
wrong.
I didn't necessarily think you were wrong. I just couldn't confirm or deny. Like I was like, I don't know.
But you can
I
hear
don't see any Bane in that.
you can hear Bane in the delivery of his voice, of
Funny
his
'cause
lines.
he has like the Bane mask on.
Yeah, yeah. Of his few lines deliveries, you can hear that little bit. And I still don't dislike Dark Knight
neither.
Rises as much as a lot of people seem
neither.
to. It's Rises, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's that one that.
And it makes me even more excited to go back and watch it again.
It's
with
long.
knowing
It's
him.
very long.
I liked it quite a bit.
Yeah.
I say like because by relation to the other, to the second one, it's obviously not as good, but like it's still a really good film. I
Yeah.
loved it.
Hey, you just. Said
Well,
that.
I loved it. I did love it, actually. I just didn't love it as much as the other one. But anyways, it makes me excited to go back because of Tom Hardy now. Like, I
Yeah.
have even more appreciation, and I want to see him in more films now.
Yeah, I'd like to. I don't know. I watch those movies like once a year.
The Blu-ray will have a black and white cut. Well, that's weird.
Another cut with no soundtrack.
Oh.
That scene. Oh shit.
The soundtrack was also amazing. And I'm not just talking about the music being played. There were moments of, I don't know how to describe it. Almost like it was orchestral, but like it was almost like in the style of the William Tell Overture style orchestral. And I don't know if that has a name or something like that style of music or where that era was from, the William Tell Overture, but it had that kind of swelling horns.
Okay.
And I don't think as many strings. I think that's what it was. It's
Yeah.
hard to play. I don't know how to denominate music that well, but that's what it like. It has a real epic feel to it, like sense to it.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of like the Clockwork Orange original theatrical trailer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was so good.
There needs to be a sequel, and I don't know if there even been rumor, because there needs to be. I want at least 3 films.
That would be fun. That would be good.
Mad Max tying them all together. I think Furiosa should be retired. I think that was her story.
Yeah.
I think that, or maybe like I could see something where like a 5-movie arc, or where it all comes around and she returns, or something like that. And there's like 4 sequels confirmed. Awesome.
Oh,
so
there you go.
5-story arc, like Mad Max. Obviously, in each one, 5 stories, but the 5th one, or 4 stories in the 5th one, should tie them all together, and
Yeah.
we should see Furiosa again.
That would be.
And we should
Amazing.
see what has become of the Citadel.
Yeah.
And there should be some finality. The next one is subtitled The Wasteland.
I heard they were gonna do a Furiosa spin-off.
Really? Well, sure,
Wow.
I guess. 2 are prequels, so we might see a little bit of what Max. Mad Max Return to Thunderdome. Holy shit. I don't know if some of these are jokes, but I've heard the Thunderdome is amazing, of the original films.
Okay.
And I almost don't want to see the original films just because I'm kind
Yeah,
of like, I feel like
I didn't see them.
I like having a different experience than a lot of other people, and I like having not seen the other ones. Even though I
Yeah.
think later on, maybe once I've seen all 5 in 10 years, I might go back and watch them out of appreciation for the old ones or something. But I think I'm gonna not even go back and watch the old
Oh,
ones.
Thunderdome was the PG-13 one?
Mm.
Thunderdome was the meth one. They're all standalone. I like that. Standalone.
What else is there to say? What are they doing there? I was trying to read it in the
Branding
theater.
on it say he's a donor or something.
Universal donor.
Oh, negative blood type.
Love
high octane. Scars heals fast. Multiple scars heals fast. Road warrior. Power.
So they're like kind of like just
Good eyes.
Okay.
Okay. Genitals.
So, they did it in the first couple films? What?
One of the other warlords, how he has like his shirt ripped here.
Oh, I didn't see
You
that.
didn't see that?
No.
Oh my god, his shirt is ripped, and he has his nipples pierced, and he's like rubbing his nipple in one of the
British
scenes.
one? The one like the one with big elephantitis feet? Or the one
can't remember
that
which
goes
one it was.
blind?
I can't remember which one it was.
The fat one?
It was the
Okay,
fat one.
that's amazing. Oh, the other thing I have to mention, it doesn't pull punches. Nobody's sacred in this.
Yeah.
People
No, not at all.
people die. And like people you didn't think were gonna die.
Yeah.
People you think that couldn't possibly be allowed to be killed in this die. And like, I mean, yeah, we're at the spoiler point, so probably only people watching now are people who have seen it already.
I don't care.
They rip a baby out and they're like, it's dead, throw it to the ground. Like, it didn't pull punches that way either.
Yeah.
It didn't like try to be like, oh, this is gonna get us a worse rating or something, or we can't show that. We gotta like, fuck that. I love how gritty it was. I love that they showed like women cattle being milked. I love that they like all of it. They actually stopped short of actually showing boobage though. There was one girl that was of the matriarchs, like that was I don't know if that women's clan had of the many mothers.
The five
that was,
wives. That's what they're called.
No, those were the girls.
Oh.
I'm talking about that was being used as bait, using herself as bait, and
Right.
she was nude, but you only saw her butt.
Yeah, she had a nice butt.
I was expecting that a film rated R with so much violence would have a little bit more nudity.
Yeah.
It wasn't needed, but I mean, I wouldn't have complained.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm so excited to see more. And one of those ones, like, expected, the next ones, because I'm, like, so pumped. This is my kind of shit.
Yeah.
It's your kind of shit.
Yeah, it is.
More Becky's. Well, I mean, Becky always loved Tank Girl, and this had a lot of that feeling. Tank Girl, obviously.
It really did.
Yeah. And the thing is, with Tank Girl, I just found a little bit too silly. The
You
film.
didn't like the rippers, like the whole
It
ripper
was just
part.
kooky and like
Yep.
it wasn't.
I
dark
get that. I
enough
totally get
to
that.
me.
Yeah.
I would love to see a reboot of Tank Girl that goes a little bit.
I was like
harder.
a 10, 12-year-old girl when it came out, when I saw it.
No,
It
I'm
is,
not
like,
slighting you for
holy
liking it. I'm just
fuck.
saying, for me, the reason this is my shit is because it's got insanity, it's got quirkiness, but it's brutal and gritty and somewhat believable. Besides the epic luck that the heroes are capable of.
Yeah.
But even then, it wasn't guilty of too much relying on luck. It wasn't like Indiana Jones luck.
Yeah.
It was just they have a lot of close calls where they had to get lucky to get through it. But it's not like Nathan Drake, somehow he's bulletproof luck.
Yeah.
But
I friggin' love those like things that they're swinging back.
The poles?
Like,
yeah.
and the fact that for a bunch of the guys that are on the poles, they're like strapped in on ropes. Because in movies like this, so often they aren't attached by anything, and you're like, how the fuck did they do that?
It was
You
so
can't do
good,
that. That's
like-
not realistic at all. But they're like reaching down and grabbing people, and they're like passing them off. But they can do it because they're strapped to the pole.
There's those were clearly done. They had to have been done on green screen without a moving vehicle.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Most of it, especially the ones where they're actually grabbing a girl and stuff.
Yeah.
But those, it still looked amazing. Like it was. Maybe I'll be surprised. Maybe they did with a moving vehicle, like nut jobs. But I love that, like stuff like that. Like those poles could only be.
At the last minute, the effect team figured out a way to do it for real.
Really? Only like people who've gone insane could come up with stuff like this to use practically in this world.
Yeah.
I love the factions and how they grumble about each other. Like the guys in the gorge are seeing the factions coming and they're like,
All this for a family feud.
all
or
this for a
something.
family feud, and they've got like a tentative kind of, truce, so they allow them to
Yeah.
pass, but they're like, they seem a little bit impatient with each other, like, you owe me for this kind of stuff, and So fucking good. Like, I almost, like, I want to see, like, a TV series maybe someday in the future that's, if it's this good. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you could tell stories on an episodic basis. Not with Mad Max, I don't think. It'd have to be some other, like, community or character or something in this world, but, like...
Why not Mad Max? He just doesn't talk enough, or...
I wouldn't want them to exhaust the character. Plus, they couldn't get him likely for a TV series. But I'm really pumped for the video game now.
Yeah.
I can't wait to jump into this world and soak it in.
It's funny because as it's starting and he gets captured and stuff, I was thinking about the video game and the fact that Mad Max always starts with nothing. And I was thinking that that's really cool how the films, he starts with nothing as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be like, and collecting all the scrap and stuff
that's
and
his
putting together
deal.
your vehicle at the beginning is gonna be fun. I feel like there might have been something else I wanted to say that it was so good. I'm so happy to have
It's funny
experienced
because
it.
there's like subtlety in it too.
That's the
his,
thing.
like-
That's what's genius. This is a triumph of the director.
Yeah.
This is a director's triumph. Whenever you see things that are understated and subtle but powerful, that's the director.
Yeah.
It requires good actors, but for the most part, you can see great actors in stuff that doesn't work. And you know it's not the actor's fault because you've seen the actor in great stuff and doing great work.
Yeah.
When it all comes together with great actors and great subtle moments that are powerful, that's the director. And so I give him so much of the credit on this. Just trying to think if there are any more amazing moments that I loved, because I want to say them all for the record. Did you guys have any that I didn't mention?
My favorite part is that she's an amputee. And not mentioned, it's not brought up ever.
When they're spitting into the air intake to make it go faster.
Yeah.
What?
And the guy's like
Yeah.
spraying.
So like, yeah, because Max is doing it because he has to spit it in.
siphon
He
it.
has to siphon it. But the guy's got things for doing it.
Yeah.
But he
like
sees
little ketchup
Max.
containers.
Yeah.
Pouring gas.
And he's doing it, but then he sees Max doing it. He's like, ha ha ha, 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 ha. Like he can do it too, and he's loving it. They're so fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. And the world is so crazy that it took me a moment to realize how ridiculous that was.
Yeah.
It just kind of went by without even. I was like, wait a minute, what's he doing?
The war boys are crazy.
The plow in front of the truck to put out the fire, very cool. And that's what was so refreshing too. It's not like in an action film. Usually, you would expect it would be like, I'm gonna use the plow on the front of the truck to put out the fire. There, I got it out. Good job. All right, I'm gonna go back and do this now. You don't have time. I got time. Like you would expect that kind of shit, but no,
They
you
just
don't
do
need
it.
that. Although, you know, I'm all for John McClane explaining his crazy plans
Yeah.
and how he knows they're not going to work. Like, there's a place for everything.
This sweet, creepy swamp guys on stilts was fucking
that was cool.
That
Yes,
was
like,
so weird.
those-
And we saw nothing more
Yeah.
of that, really. It wasn't
It's
really discussed.
Hints at a bigger world, a
Yeah.
richer world that's going on around you that you can't wait to go back to. The fact that you want to go back to this place just says so much about it.
Yeah.
There were a couple cheesy moments, and that's saying a lot because like this film has very little, but I did think that the moment where they meet up with the old women, where they're like,
I think they purposely kind of made that cheesy. I don't know, it was
felt
too
like it
over
was-
the top and
it felt-
awkward. I was like, why'd they
yeah,
keep that going for that long?
it felt just a little bit further than it needed to go
Yeah.
in terms of like, she grabs her bullet and she slaps her hand and they all laugh kind of happily, and it's like, that felt really out of place, but
Yeah.
it
I
almost,
liked it though.
it almost felt as though like he intended for that to be kind of like a tongue-in-cheek this is all you're getting. This is the moment of elation and happiness, and that's it. That's the like the midway point. And that's what we were saying before we came back, how much we loved that. At no point in this film did George Miller think, you know, all right, well, I'm trying to picture, like, you know, their brainstorming process. And it's like, you know, okay, so swings down and grabs the girl, and then I guess we can change to this scene, and it'd be like, no, and then this happens, and then this happens. And everything just keeps on, like, tumbling into the next thing.
Yeah.
And it all overlaps and stuff. Like, everything's a chain reaction. Like, it's a constant domino effect happening.
Oh, yeah.
There's no scene, like, break. There's no moment where there's, like, the truck is taken down scene or the next up comes the javelin guy scene. No, these are all intertwined, and they keep coming back and backing off and coming back.
Don't really take their turns like most action movies.
And I can, like, the storyboarding had to have been just so convoluted because of that. Like, there's no scene break at all.
Yeah. The director said that he intended to make it feel like some of the scenes you're not supposed to be there.
Not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
I wonder what that means.
I think that's like that scene where they meet up with the women. Like, it didn't have a nice clean cut. It was like, it extended a little bit longer.
Okay. Okay, I can see that.
That's kind of what I'm guessing anyways.
What I liked was also, so the whole movie is a chase scene, and then they get to the halfway point in the film, and they decide to do the chase scene again.
Yeah!
Except let's go backwards. And who else could get away with that in the film?
I don't know.
There's this epic chase scene, and then they turn around, and they go back, and it's another chase scene! Fucking amazing. Fucking amazing.
Yeah, the pitch for this must have been kind of difficult. Well, it's a Mad Max, so the fact that it's a sequel might have made it a bit easier.
The other thing that I guess may have been a little bit cheesy was the relationship that developed so quickly between
Nux and the redhead.
Nux and the redhead. On the other hand, like, I mean, it did make it kind of clear that these girls have somehow retained a large degree of empathy. They even, like, yell at Furiosa at one point, saying that she promised them no unnecessary deaths.
Yeah.
Which is interesting that they have that much empathy considering the world they've grown up in and what they've been subjected to with that disgusting man on top of them, no doubt, like, a few times. And so, and being used as, like, objects. They've actually, funny thing, they were locked in an area that kind of looked like Elizabeth's Tower from BioShock. That area that they're in with the books and, like...
Yeah, weird.
It kind of seemed like Elizabeth's tower. But anyways, yeah, so in that sense I can understand why they were able to see the humanity in him. Like, he was basically their first contact with anybody besides Max outside, ever.
Yeah, I think so, because they were locked in that.
Yeah, so he's the first one that they've seen
assuming.
besides the dude.
Yeah.
And there's even this insinuation that almost, like, I don't know if even his sons, and I'm talking about, what's his name again? Joe? John?
Joe.
Or Joe? I don't even know if his sons know what he's got in there. Like, there's this...
I think they do. Yeah, they do, because whenever the baby comes out...
Oh, yeah, okay, so people must
his
have
oldest
known.
son said, I had a brother.
Yeah. I want to see it again, I think, but I wish I had more time.
Yeah.
I might find the time, because, goddamn. Oh, her! The one who was naked at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And she had kind of...
She has a fucking killer body for... How old do you think she is? Like, her face
young.
looks older.
No, they weathered her face.
Okay.
I think they made her windblown and weathered. I think
Okay.
that she's probably about as old as Charlize Theron, like
Okay.
maybe approaching 40.
God damn, that's a nice body.
Anyways, she had kind of like what looked like native dress on. Like she had the leather that's chopped up into strips.
Yeah.
kind of on her side.
I didn't really get a good look at what she was
That's
wearing.
what she kind of reminded me of, like a native. I think she might have even been played by a Native American woman. I can't tell because she was so tanned and weathered.
Yeah.
But anyways, I loved her style, and I love that she used the long gun.
Yeah.
And her action moments were fucking awesome too.
Yeah.
Like,
She's 38.
yeah, I figured something like
Nice.
that.
Wow, they
They weathered her
really
up.
weathered her face. That's bait.
But
Remember how Mad Max said
yeah,
that?
yeah, the way he said
That's
bait. It's the way he acts so tired. Like he's seen it all before, and he's so tired of everything, but he can't get rid of this need to survive for some reason. He just has it. And the
Yeah.
only thing keeping him going, I guess, is redemption. Otherwise, he would have given up by now.
Yeah.
But he feels the need to stay alive because I think that he thinks if he dies, all that's on the other side is what's haunting him.
Yeah, maybe.
So he needs to make amends somehow, I think. So the other thing I have to say is how visually stunning it was. The color palette they used, this
Holy shit,
beautiful
yeah.
red and brown, and just a little bit of blue, I think, in the sky. But for the most part, it was, like yellows and browns and reds.
Yeah.
they
It
had
wasn't
blue
like
sky.
gritty, gray, blacks.
But it was.
Dark
it was.
browns.
It wasn't dark
It was
and gray.
gritty.
It was bright, but it was a very limited palette,
Yeah.
and it worked.
Yeah.
It was vibrant. Not that I'm not with a lot of people on thinking that films need to be vibrant and that there's something wrong with brown and green. That's what we like to make fun of Call of Duty for.
Yeah.
I think that has its place too. This color palette was beautiful though.
Yeah.
It really worked for this.
I thought it was refreshing.
The explosions were this rich, beautiful red, and not a lot of blood though.
No, it's
Oh, yeah.
weird.
There was also chrome.
Of course. Yes, there was.
All right, I think we've gushed enough.
I
How
think
long
so,
have we been
too.
going?
I don't even know. Well, at least an hour.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So, all right, that's
About an hour.
our little discussion.
Very good.
It's Mad Max, and I'm so excited to see more. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on another movie post show when we do them. We tend to do them when we really fucking love the film so far. Maybe we'll do them for films we don't completely love at some point.
What's the fun in that?
I don't know. Like, I mean, yeah.
I like to be positive, man.
Yeah. All right, guys. See you next time. Thanks for watching.